Hello, Andrew Doble here, and today I'm going to run through what went into my recent Zombie Hoard photo, which you can see on your screen now. So this was quite a complicated photo to do, and so I thought I would run through what went into it. So the first thing is obviously the shoot itself. So I made this image from a series of photos using just two models to create a composite image. So to do this image, the camera was set on a tripod, and then I posed the models in different places to get the image that I wanted. So starting with the hands coming through a hole in the wall behind the girl. Placed the male model on the floor, knowing that I was going to cut his legs off for that one, and then going through, posing the model in different places in the location to get the images that I needed. And there we are, back to the first one. I then came into Photoshop, so that's the finished image. So let's start. So then I imported the photos into Photoshop and started to layer them. I'd picked a starting image, one with the model towards the back, and to go through, you can see here I needed to add in the model on the right hand side there, so just turning on that layer there, you can see I cut out the model and the model's shadow, an important thing to remember, because you can see the sunlight coming in from the right hand side, so it was important to make sure the shadows matched up as much as possible. So there you go, you see masking out the areas that I don't need. Obviously that's the hands there. Again, hiding everything that I'd created so far at the back there. Adding in this model here. Now the hands. This was the best expression, so I was really happy with that expression on the model's face there, on Claire's face, so that was the photo I wanted to use for that. There's the model on the floor, and there he is on the left hand side. So if I put them all on, you can see adding in the model there, coming through the door, the arms on the right, the guy on the ground, the guy on the right there. Now here you can see I kept the model's leg, but changed the rest of her body to a different photo. Again, adding him on the floor, making sure to keep his shadow. And then finally, the model on the left hand side. The next stage was to start actually editing the photo, actually starting to retouch it. So I needed to create the effect that he had been cut in half. So I started by just painting in where I wanted things to be. I had originally thought of actually painting in the insides of him from scratch, but I didn't think it would work after just doing that for a little while. But I'll get to that in a bit. So then here you can see I'm starting to add in some different effects here. So obviously you can see this guy here. He's had some work done, make him look a bit more gaunt. Same with the guy in the back, taking his hair off. I've replaced, you can see the hair on this guy here, because this is the one model, and I needed it to look like lots of different people, not just one zombie, not a kind of quintuplet zombie horde. So I needed to change their features, their hairdos, as much as I possibly could, given the limitations of just shooting with one person. So there you can see I've added in a wound on the guy's head, just there. Adding in the trousers, just there. Change his trousers. Adding in the trousers just here. That's a wound I've painted in there. Okay, changing this guy's face completely to something much more zombie-like and very different. Same here, adding in wounds and whatnot on that side. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on in this one. So you can see for a start the wound here, and his hair is changing. But the big thing obviously here is adding in this. So finding images of people's insides, I suppose. Not a very pleasant Google search, but eventually finding the right kind of thing and then layering it and adjusting it and making it how you want it to look. So the next layer is a hue saturation layer. This starts to unify the image and make it look like it adds a bit of atmosphere, taking the colour out a little bit, making the guys look dead, but keeping the skin colour on her a bit more alive looking. So you can start to see it's starting to come together quite nicely now. Next thing is to add in some wounds now. Things you can see, this is very subtle, this one. Just look here, you can see the colour just as I turn it off again and on, you can see the colour there changing. So I'm just adding some kind of where the skin might be a slightly different colour, so it's not all uniform. Starting to add in some blood down here. A few wounds on this guy to make him a bit more zombified. Okay, starting to add in more wounds and blood. This guy's guts falling out. A bit more blood around there. And just changing the values on the image again, and just tweaking it slightly to get it where I need it to be. So I duplicated everything up onto its own separate layer here so that I could then do some dodging and burning, just to bring out some more shapes. Next I added in some curve adjustments and just starting to change the overall lighting to how I wanted it to be, because I felt it was a bit too light. And you can see it's just darkening down the edges where I didn't want to see quite so much going on. However, I needed to see a bit more of the girl, so just lightening up her face there, so I can see a bit more of her. And then finally, these are layers that just add a little bit of, again, it's unifying the image, making sure everything is part of the same image, but also adding, it's very subtle, on there, just adding in a little bit of texture. That one's a bit more noticeable. Just bringing in a bit of that kind of Walking Dead aesthetic there, and a bit of yellow in there on that one to create the final image. And there you have it. Hopefully that gives a slight insight into what went into this particular image. Thank you.